What's up, Pathways Church? Welcome to today's Daily Dose. I'm Nathan Purifoy, your worship pastor. I'm super excited to be with you this week. Actually, a couple of weeks ago, I had a conversation with somebody that feels like they're in a little bit of a dry spell in their relationship with God. That happens from time to time. One of the most inevitable things that I can almost always predict is that you at some point are going to feel like God isn't speaking to you. You at some point are going to feel like God isn't in your life. But let me reassure you that He most definitely is. I'll give you these two analogies real quick. First of all, when I was a kid, I started mowing my own lawn. I was probably 12 years old, something like that. And the first time I mowed my lawn, my dad showed me how to do it. And he said, "Son, you did a great job. I'm proud of you. The lawn looks amazing." And he showed me the few things that I could do better. But for the most part, he just heaped praises on me. And then the next time I mowed the lawn, I came in and I was like, "How'd I do, Dad?" He was like, "You did great. I looked over all of it. It looks awesome." And he did that for a while. And then one day, he didn't tell me I did a great job. He didn't tell me I did a bad job. He didn't go out of his way to point out all the flaws that I had. He didn't go out of his way to tell me that I missed something or that I left a huge patch that was unmowed. But for some reason, he felt confident enough in my abilities that he didn't need to continue praising me for me to perform. He knew that I knew the basics at this point. Sometimes that's what it feels like in our relationship with God. We're doing everything we can, and we just feel like God's got his arms around us, and he's loving us, and he's heaping praises on us. And then sometimes it feels like that just stops. Because like I said on Monday, we're supposed to be people that are growing at all times, and we get to the point where we can discern right from wrong on our own. Why would God continue to build us up in this area when he's got something else to move us towards? It's kind of like this. This is the second analogy I want to show you. Let's say Nathan Purifoy is a flawed man. He starts right here in his walk with God, and Jesus is standing just a little bit ahead of me. And he says, "Nathan, I want you to take a step towards me." So I do. I take a step towards Jesus. And I keep stepping towards Jesus, and I keep stepping towards Jesus. And the next thing I know, I've got a little distracted. I'm looking around. And then the next time I look ahead, Jesus is further ahead. And I look forward at Jesus and I think, "Jesus, you're not as close as you used to be." So I'm just going to keep inching towards Jesus. And I get close and I take a look around and I'm seeing the progress that I'm making. And then I look ahead and Jesus is further away again. He keeps moving the finish line. That's not fair, is it? But Jesus doesn't want us to get to this mediocre finish line and then stop. He wants to pull us closer to him and then remind us there's still a ways to go. And pull us closer to him and then remind us again there's still a ways to go. And we get to this point sometimes where we're frustrated with the moving finish line. And we remember, like, I've made sacrifices to get here. I've worked on my patience, I've worked on my kindness, I've worked on my gentleness. I've been better to my kids. I've been better to my wife. I keep going to the job that I hate because I feel like that's where you want me. And then you keep moving the finish line. We lose heart. We get discouraged. Now, as you're moving closer to Jesus, one of the things, just like with the analogy with the lawn mowing, my dad didn't stop being my dad just because he didn't come give me praises. Just because you're not as close to Jesus as you think you should be doesn't mean you've lost your way into heaven or that you've lost your place with him. You're still God's. You're still his child. You're still with him in eternity. But he wants us inching closer and closer to becoming more the image of Jesus on this earth that we're supposed to be. But look at what David said in 1 Samuel chapter 17. David's talking to Saul. He's about to go fight Goliath, this giant that's challenging the entire kingdom. And David is just a boy. And Saul asks him, the king, he asks him, "Do you think you can do this?" And David's like, "Of course I can. I was the one that took care of a flock of sheep when a lion attacked, and I went and killed the lion because God was with me. And then I went and killed the bear when the bear attacked the flock because God was with me. And the same God that helped me attack that lion and win, and helped me attack that bear and win, is the same God that's going to take me to this Philistine giant, and I'll beat him." He got to this point where Jesus might have been a little further away, but he looked back for a second. And he remembered, "God, if you can get me through that divorce, then I can still keep moving close to you now. If you can get me through losing those jobs, then I know that you're going to get me through this thing that's coming up next. If you can get me through that issue with my family member, the problem with the sickness that I had, the problem with the finances that I had when I felt like I lost all my friends, whatever the case, if you can get me through that, then I know that you're going to get me this next step too. And again, I'll be closer to you." Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I'll see you tomorrow on the Daily Dose.